Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Now before we get into this video, let me just quickly shout something out because I feel like it needs to be said. Yes, I look kind of ratch. I tried today, but I just got to a point where I got over it at the end of the day. So then I just threw a fucking black t-shirt on and put my hair up like this. I feel like majority of my videos now are going to be lashless because I just can't with false lashes. I can't do it. It makes me so mad. Like, I can't put them on, they don't fit my eyes, I can't do it anymore. It makes me sick just thinking about it. So I'm not wearing eyelashes and I look like a 12-year-old little boy, but we're just gonna have to deal with it because I just can't anymore. I just can't physically do it. Today's video is going to be another story time video, and it's going to be about our favorite topic in the world, exes. I feel like when you're talking about an ex, you should look snatched. I don't, so I'm kind of going against that. There is no way that I want to be talking about any ex looking like a 12-year-old boy, but we're just going to have to do it because that's what we're rolling with today and that's what we're rocking with. And this video is not about trying to impress someone, this is about throwing motherfucking shade. Okay, so this video is basically going to be about my ex-boyfriend's crazy motherfucking mum. The reason why I wanted to film this video is because I feel like a lot of people may be able to relate to this. You know, if you're dating someone or if you've dated someone in the past and you just don't like their mum or their dad or their siblings or someone that you just have to deal with all the time. It is so fucking annoying, like, is it not? Even if you're like married to someone and you don't like your in-laws, like, it can just be a really tough time. This video is going to be about my personal experience with not liking a boyfriend's family member and all of the damn shit that I had to shovel to get to where I am right now. Okay, so I was dating this guy and we weren't in an official relationship like Facebook offish, but we had been seeing each other for about probably like over a month. I would say we were like seeing each other, going on dates, etc., but we weren't in an official boyfriend-girlfriend relationship. We went out one night and I really liked this guy a lot, and we went out, and then the next day, I lived at home at the time, so the next day I was really bored and I was like, I wonder what this guy's doing, I kind of want to see him, see what he's up to, etc. So I texted him and asked him what he was doing, and he was like, oh yeah, I'm just at my family's house just chilling, whatever. Now this guy, I was 18 when we met, and I'm pretty sure, I can't really remember, but I think he was like maybe 23, I don't know, maybe he was 22, I don't know. He was a few years older than me. He actually had his own house, but he didn't live in it. He lived at home with his family, which do you boo, but that's a whole nother story. He lived at home with his family, but he just wasn't a very independent person, so he had a house, but he didn't live in it because he didn't want to leave home. So, you know, not throwing any shade, just kidding, that shade is big enough to be a like 50-meter umbrella. He's like, yeah, I'm just at home, do you want to come over? And I said yes. So I got in my car and I drove to his house, which he lived out in the damn sticks. So I'm driving out there, whatever, I get there, he comes out and greets me. And I was kind of nervous, to be honest, because I hadn't met any of his family and I figured that his family would be there, so it was kind of like, oh, a bit awkward, whatever, but I just went with it. When I got there, I met his family, his parents were there, and then his sister and her fiance were there. So I was like, damn, the whole gang. Hello, I'm Jess. The best thing you're ever going to meet in your life. Met everyone, whatever, everything was fine. And then his mum came out and she was just your typical Betty Crocker bitch with the apron. I've just been baking brownies. Do you want some? I'm going to poison you if you hurt my son. I want to see the manager haircut kind of person. You can picture it. She seems like a nice person, whatever. So we meet, whatever, we talk. Then we're all sitting out kind of on the balcony porch area. And anyway, his mum decides to say, oh, it's really nice when so-and-so, the guy I was seeing, brings home such nice girls. And I'm like, bitch, like, who says that? Like, how embarrassing. I kind of like was a bit like, oh, that's kind of weird to say, but I just kind of left it because I was like, whatever. She probably didn't mean anything by it. So that was the first time meeting her. Everything was kind of fine. She was a nice person or whatever, but she did say that and I was like, I don't even know what that means. Me and this guy are now in an official relationship, and every time that we would go over to his house, if I would visit him or if we would just be hanging out and we would have to go back, his mum would be there because she worked from home, so she would always be there. You know what I mean? Like, she was just one of those people that's like a fly hanging around you, like really, really annoying. I would like walk into the house and she'd be like, "Hi." Then I would go into the bathroom and she'd be like, "Hi." And it was just kind of one of those situations where she was just always around all the time. And I didn't really care so much, but it was when I would be with this guy that I was with all the time, she would just kind of like hang around. You know what I mean? I would be trying to like spend time with him because we were in a relationship, and she would just be there all the time. Like, it was like I was having a threesome with him and her. And I'm like, bitch, I don't want your vagina. You know, I'm a straight ass woman. So she was just always around all the time, and it really, really kind of got on my nerves eventually. We'd kind of be back at his house just doing whatever, and she would just be hanging around all the time, either talking his ear off or talking my ear off. And I was a really nice person, and I still am a nice person. So I was kind of like always talking to her and giving her, having like good conversations and stuff, but she was just always kind of around. I definitely was not perfect in the relationship that I was in by any means. I mean, I feel like none of us are perfect in relationships. There is always two sides to a story. So I definitely was the type of person that really kind of made sort of like, I would sit there and be like, I just want to go home, like whatever, like I'm sick of being here, I just want to go spend time with my boyfriend. I was just that type of person. I was young, so I've definitely grown up since then, but I was definitely like that. I was kind of like always a bit shitty, and me and my boyfriend would fight all the time about it, because I would just be like, I want to spend time with you, I want to go out and do things, I don't want to sit in your family's house and talk to your mum the whole time like she's not who I'm in a relationship with. Like, don't get me wrong, I love family and I am a family orientated person, but there is a line that you don't cross, and he was just crossing the line all the time, like just spending a little bit too much time. And you're probably like, Jess, maybe he didn't like you that much. Yeah, probably. And because he lived there, his mum would call him up every 5 minutes on the phone. Like, I kid you not, it felt like 5 minutes every single day. She would call him up and say, "What are you up to? What did you have for dinner? What are you having for dinner tonight? Make sure you eat your protein." And I'd be like, bitch, I'm gonna fucking slit your vagina in 3. Like, really? Like, you need to stop. Like, my mum is not on the phone talking to me every 5 minutes. My mum is not asking me what I'm having for dinner, because she trusts me that I'm a mature adult who can deal with life. You know what I mean? Even though I was a teenager, but she just wasn't the type of person to be like needy and naggy and shit. And I think I'm like getting annoyed. Anyway, she would call him up all the time, and then she would call him up and be like, "You need to come home and do your laundry and whatever." So then we'd have to go back to his house and do the laundry. And once again, we would try and leave and go out and do our own thing and spend couples time together, and she would be like hanging around talking, and I don't even know 100% if she did some of this on purpose, but bitch, you need to stop. Anyway, so one day we went over to his house, of course. Anyway, so I always felt like his mum judged me a lot of the time. Like, there were a few times when I was in between jobs, and I always felt like she kind of judged me for not being as successful and not feeling like I was successful enough to date her son. And she was just a very protective kind of person. I just always felt like she was a very judgy kind of person, and she'd always ask very personal questions about my life and like things that I was doing and stuff like that. One day I went over to my boyfriend's house with him, and I was just to the point where things were really fucking getting annoying at this point. I go into the house, whatever, and I'm kind of like wanting to leave because we'd been there for a relatively long time and whatever, and I just was getting over it. So as I said, of course I was a bit of a bitch as well, but I was just wanting to leave, so I was in a bit of a shitty, like bratty mood. And so my boyfriend was then in like a really annoyed mood, and it was almost like he was being pulled between me and his mum. Like, it was sort of like, who do I choose and whatever, which was really not how a relationship should be. Like, you shouldn't have to pick between your mother and your girlfriend. Like, your mum shouldn't even give you that ultimatum, really, unless there's like something bad going on, you know what I mean? But I wasn't doing shit. I walked in there and I'm just kind of like, I really want to leave, and this bitch is sitting there yapping as she does, trying to keep him there because she didn't want to be alone when he left and went off with me. Like, the fuck, get a life. You're fucking 50, 60 years old. Like, bitch, please. I was really annoyed, and then she was sitting out on the porch, like, having her fucking Lipton tea or something like that. And I've walked out, and she's like, her and, like, my boyfriend are having an argument, and I didn't know that it was about me, but he was just in a shitty mood anyway. And so she's like, "Do you not like being here, Jess?" And I'm like, I literally, like, my mouth dropped and I didn't even know what to say at this point because I was so shocked that she had even said that to me. I was like, really? Like, you are so strange. You know what I mean? Like, it's just weird. Like, you're the one making me not want to be in the presence of your house because you are like a leech. You're sucking the energy out of me and my relationship, and you're getting too involved in things. You know what I mean? Like, every single time that we would be in an argument, she'd get involved with things. And I just can't stand that. Like, just don't get involved in other people's dramas, you know? And then I like went to walk off to the car because I'm like, I'm not dealing with this bitch. And then she walks off and she's like, he was never like this, Jess, and like storms into the house. And I'm like, you are lucky I don't have a lighter right now because I would burn your shit to the ground. Anyway, so we got in the car and I think my boyfriend was kind of like shocked that she had said that and like really like, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening, because he kind of like changed the subject and like didn't really talk about it whilst we were in the car. And I kind of like mentioned it to him like later on, like I was like, you know, like what your mum said, like, don't you think that's a bit weird? Like, what are we going to do? And he was like, oh, it's fine. Like, she's just in a mood and whatever. But I think he knew that it was really bad. So one time, his parents went away on a holiday and I was at his house, a fair few, you know, days of the week, nights of the week, whatever. And one time, she of course rang him up to check on him and see that he was okay and he's wiped his ass properly and everything like that and he doesn't have worms. He said to her, he was like at work and stuff like that, and said that I had sort of, you know, I was over and whatever. And then he started to get all like serious and he was like, no mum, it's fine, like that's not how it is and whatever. And when he got off the phone, I was like, what were you talking about to your mum? And he was like, oh, mum just wanted to make sure that like she thought that you were in the house by yourself without me whilst I was at work and you like let yourself in and whatever. What does she think I'm gonna do? Like steal something? Like, what am I gonna take from here? Like your 500 cooking books or your like 600 different saucepans or your really large extensive collection of Christmas decor? Like, what do you think that a bitch like me is going to want from your fucking cottage in the hills, cunt? Like, I'm sorry for swearing so much, like I really do apologize, but this is like literally the most angriest like story that I've ever told. She was just like thinking that I don't know, like didn't want me to be in her house. And I'm like, me and your son have been literally dating for like pretty much almost 1.5 years at this point, and you don't want me in your house on your own when I've done literally nothing wrong to you. Kind of just really was not going well from there, and we kind of like got along after that. Like we were sort of off and on talking, whatever. It wasn't really anything serious, I think, because we were both just being quite civil to each other, but we were just not in the mood anymore. Nothing really happened after that. We just kind of like talked as normal and whatever, but she still hung around like a fly. And of course me and my boyfriend ended up breaking up. That was probably a huge reason why we broke up. There were numerous reasons why we broke up. We were like two different fucking peas in a pod and we were not meant to be in the same shell. Regardless of that, that was a hard situation to be in with someone's mum being so needy. And it's just like, you need to grow up. You need to let your child go. And she would always judge me, as I said, on everything and judge our relationship. And I actually remember one time, like I found out that his whole family had been talking about us behind our backs and talking about me behind my back and saying that like he had changed so much since meeting me. And I was like, I mean, don't get me wrong, I was definitely a bitch and I was definitely a brat back then, and things have changed a lot for me now. Like I'm not that type of person anymore when I'm with someone. I was just very needy back then as a younger person, but I was a teenager and I was in a relationship with someone who was a lot older than me, so it really did make things difficult. But it was just like, I can't stand when people's families get involved. Like, let me tell you how glad I am to be out of that crazy motherfucking household with that crazy bitch. He would have arguments and stuff, but it's like, that's gonna happen in a relationship, you know what I mean? Like, as long as your like son or daughter isn't dating someone that's like a drug addict or an alcoholic or like violent towards them or whatever, but if you're just having like arguments about personal things, like you shouldn't get involved, you know what I mean? Like, fair enough, care about how the person's going in their life and whatever, but don't get overly involved and think that it is a serious matter, because it just blew up 100 times more than it probably would have. That is basically the story of my ex-boyfriend's crazy mum. Praise Jesus that she has gotten better now in her days and lets him just be and live on and, you know, not involve herself in his relationships, because You need Jesus. Let me know in the comments if you've ever had a situation like this happen to you where you just can't stand no bitch, and let me know. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to follow me on my Instagram and everything like that. And I will see you guys very, very soon. I have a few other storytime videos I think that I want to share with you guys that I kind of wasn't going to share them, but I think I will just because it's entertaining and I love filming these types of videos. So, bye. Advice of the day. If you have a girlfriend or you have a boyfriend whose parents get too involved in your relationship, my advice to you, just go. Just head out the door. Take him if you want, but just get out, because seriously, some people don't know when to quit. As soon as you chop the umbilical cord from your child, that's when you need to give them a little bit of freedom. You ain't conjoined at the hips, cunt. Okay. All right, we have figured that out.